The security guard's hand moved toward his radio. "Sir, you need to leave." Keanu Reeves stood at the counter in silence. No cameras, no bodyguards, just a backpack and a faded baseball cap. The woman behind the glass barely looked up. "This is a private banking institution," she said coldly. "I understand," Keanu replied quietly. "Then you understand you can't just walk in here." The bank manager appeared. Tailored suit, gold cufflinks, impatient eyes. "Is there a problem here?" "This man refuses to leave," the teller said. The manager looked Keanu up and down. Worn jeans, scuffed boots. "No watch, sir?" "This branch serves high net worth clients exclusively. I'm going to have to ask you to use one of our standard locations." Keanu reached into his pocket. Every security guard tensed. He pulled out a crumpled piece of paper. "I'm here to close an account." The manager didn't even look at it. "You can do that online or at any regular branch." Behind them, wealthy clients were being escorted into private rooms. Champagne, leather chairs, smiles. Keanu was being escorted toward the door. The security guard's grip tightened on his arm. And that's when Keanu said 5 words that would change everything. "Call your regional director." The manager laughed. "Sir, the regional director doesn't take calls about. Tell him account holder KR is here." Silence. The manager's face shifted. "Wait here," he said, voice suddenly less confident. Keanu sat down on a bench near the entrance. Not the waiting area for clients. The bench where delivery people sat. "Have you ever been invisible just because of how you looked?" Comment below. Keanu had opened this account 17 years ago. Right after his sister recovered from leukemia, he'd put money aside. Quietly, carefully. Money she'd never have to worry about. For years, he stayed away. Emails, calls, reports, never appearances. 3 days ago, he received a letter. "Due to inactivity and updated compliance regulations, your account will be transferred to dormant status unless you appear in person." That morning, he came unannounced, not to show power, but to see the truth. He sat on that bench and watched. A woman in heels walked past him holding a Birkin bag. She didn't glance his way. A man in a 3-piece suit took a call near the window. Loud, confident, talking about a yacht. He looked at Keanu once, then looked away as if he'd seen nothing. Minutes passed. Behind glass walls, executives laughed. Whiskey glasses, expensive watches. No one spoke to him. No one offered water. No one cared. 17 years ago, when he'd walked into this same building, he'd been treated like family. Now he was being treated like a threat. The manager finally returned. His expression was unreadable. "Mr. Reeves," he said quietly. "Not sir. Anymore. Not dismissive anymore. Please follow me." "Have you noticed how people treat you when they think you're unimportant?" They didn't take him to a private room. They took him to a hallway. Narrow, fluorescent lights. "No windows. Wet here," the manager said. Keanu stood there, alone. He could hear voices through the walls. Laughter from the VIP lounge. The clink of glasses. Someone talking about Santorini. 10 minutes passed. Then 15. No water. No chair. No explanation. A younger employee appeared, nervous. Clipboard in hand. "We need to verify some information before we can proceed." She handed him a form requesting proof of residence, tax returns, employment verification, 2 forms of ID. "I've had this account for 17 years, Keanu said. "Policy has changed," she replied, avoiding his eyes. He pulled out his driver's license and passport. She glanced at them. "We'll need certified copies. For an account I opened in 2008. "I'm sorry, that's the policy." Keanu asked one question. "Is the regional director here?" Her face went pale. "I'll ask." She disappeared. Keanu stood in that hallway for another 8 minutes. He watched employees walk past. One glanced his way, then quickly looked at their phone. Another carried expensive coffee. They didn't offer him any. The fluorescent light flickered. No one came to fix it, and then he heard it. A voice from the room next door. "Just stall him. We can't have this today." Another voice. "What if he makes a scene?" "He won't." "Guys like that never do." Laughter. Sharp. Dismissive. Keanu's jaw tightened. Not from anger. From clarity. This wasn't about policy. This was about making him uncomfortable enough to leave. He looked down at the paper in his hand. The account number his sister never knew existed. The money he'd set aside when she was sick. When he didn't know if she'd survive. He'd made a promise 17 years ago. That she'd never have to worry. And now these people were treating that promise like it was nothing. Keanu took a slow breath. Then he pulled out his phone and quietly pressed record. "Have you ever been disrespected by people who were supposed to serve you?" The door opened. A man in his 50s, expensive suit.
Silk tie, Rolex.
Mr. Reeves, I'm Philip Hargrove, Regional Director.
They shook hands. Brief.
I apologize for the wait. We've been upgrading our systems and why am I being stalled? The smile faltered. I'm sorry. I heard you. Through the wall. Silence. Hargrove's face shifted. Not embarrassment, calculation. I think there's been a misunderstanding. I don't. They entered a small conference room. No champagne. No leather chairs. Just a table and 2 plastic seats. Your account has been flagged, Hargrove said. For what? Her regular activity. I haven't touched it in years. Exactly. Keanu leaned back. You're saying inactivity is suspicious.
In some cases, yes.
Hargrove's smile returned. Cold, professional. We have a responsibility to our institution. And I have a responsibility to my family. Which is why we're asking for standard documentation. You didn't ask for documentation 17 years ago. Times have changed. Or management has. Hargrove's eyes narrowed. If you're unwilling to comply. I was told to leave when I walked in. I was made to wait on a delivery bench. I was put in a hallway with no explanation. Hargrove didn't respond. Keanu leaned forward. What happened to this place? For a moment, something flickered in Hargrove's expression. Guilt. It vanished quickly. I'll be honest with you. Your account is significant. And there are parties interested in acquiring certain portfolios. Keanu went still. You're selling accounts. We're consolidating assets as part of a strategic restructuring, without telling the account holders. Hargrove stood up. This conversation is over. No, Keanu said quietly. It's just beginning. Hargrove's face went red. If you don't leave now, I'll have security remove you. Call them. Have them throw me out. Make a scene. Hargrove's hand hovered over his phone. But he didn't pick it up. Keanu had just called his bluff. You have 24 hours to provide documentation. Hargrove said coldly. Or your account will be frozen. He walked toward the door. Keanu's voice stopped him. Hargrove froze. What? Keanu held up his phone. Every word. From the hallway to now. The color drained from Hargrove's face. What would you do if you caught someone like this on tape? Keanu didn't leave. He went to the 4th floor. Executive suites. 2 security guards met him. And standing behind them was Margaret Russo, the woman who'd opened his account 17 years ago. Her face went white. Keanu. She led him to her office. Small, no windows. Buried in paperwork. They don't know I'm still here, she said quietly. I was demoted 6 months ago. Why? Because I wouldn't go along with it. With what? She looked at him for a long moment. They're selling off dormant accounts to a private equity firm. Accounts that haven't been touched in over 5 years. Keanu's hands tightened. My sister's fund. Yours. And 300 others. The number hit him like a punch. How much? Collectively. Over 400 million. Silence. And the account holders? Keanu asked. They'll get notices, eventually, after the sale. By then, and money will be locked in litigation for years. Margaret's voice cracked. There's a veteran in Montana. Account for his daughter's college. There's a widow in Florida. Her husband's life insurance. There's a teacher who saved for 30 years. She looked up at him. And they're all about to lose it. How do we stop it? You can't. Unless you have proof of intent. Keanu pulled out his phone and played the recording. Hargrove's voice filled the office. Just stall him. We can't have this today? Margaret's eyes widened. I did. That's not legal in this state without consent. I know. So we can't use it in court. No. But we can use it everywhere else. Margaret walked to her desk, pulled open the bottom drawer, hesitated, then pulled out a flash drive. I kept copies. Internal emails. Memos, approval chains. She held it like it weighed 1,000 pounds. I could lose my pension for this. You don't have to. Yes, I do. Because I opened your account and promised you it was safe. She pressed it into his palm. There's a journalist. Amanda Fairchild. She's been investigating this for 2 years. She made the call. Amanda, it's Margaret Russo. I have something. Account fraud. 400 million. 300 victims. Pause. How solid is your evidence? Margaret looked at Keanu. Airtight. 1 hour, the usual place. The line went dead. If you had evidence that could save hundreds but destroy your life, what would you do? 1 hour later, they met Amanda Fairchild at a cafe 2 blocks away. She was in her 40s, sharp eyes. Recording device already on the table. Keanu handed her the flash drive. Margaret confirmed its contents. Amanda listened to the recording twice. This is explosive, she said. But you know what happens next, right? Lawsuits, Keanu said. Exactly. They'll come after both of you hard. Margaret's hand trembled slightly. I know. Amanda looked at Keanu. Why are you doing this? You could just move your money and walk away. Keanu was quiet for a moment. Because 300 people trusted this bank with their futures. And that trust is being stolen. He looked at Margaret. Because someone kept evidence for 6 months waiting for the right moment to use it. He looked back at Amanda. And because if we don't do this, who will? Amanda nodded slowly. I'll need 48 hours to verify everything and build the story. How soon can it run? 3 days, maybe 4, and our names, protected. I never reveal sources. Keanu stood up. Then we're done here. Amanda stopped him. One more thing. Are you prepared for what comes after? After the story breaks. After your life changes. After you become the person who took down a bank. Keanu smiled slightly. I'm not taking down a bank. I'm just making sure 300 people get what's theirs. He walked toward the door. Margaret called after him. Keanu. Yeah. Why didn't you just move your money years ago? He paused. Because the woman who opened that account told me it was safe. And I believed her. Margaret's voice cracked. I'm sorry I let you down. You didn't, Keanu said. They did. But we're about to make it right. Would you risk everything to expose the truth? Tell us below. 3 days later, the story broke, small financial blog. Then it spread, Twitter, LinkedIn, Reddit. By day 2, mainstream outlets picked it up. By day 3, federal regulators announced an investigation. Hargrove was suspended. 2 board members resigned. The private equity deal collapsed. And the 300 accounts, unfrozen, returned. Safe Keanu Reeves never appeared in a single headline. Amanda protected her sources. Margaret kept her pension. Keanu closed his account, not from anger, from principle. He transferred everything to a credit union. No marble floors, no champagne. Just people who remembered that banking used to be about trust. The week after, Keanu received a letter. Handwritten. From Portland, Oregon. Dear Sir or Madam, I don't know who you are. But I wanted you to know what you did. My husband passed away 2 years ago. Before he died, he set up an account for our daughter. For college, last month, I was told it was lost. That it would take years to recover. My daughter starts school in September. I didn't know what to do. Then last week, the account was restored. I don't know if you were one of the people who fought for this. But if you were, thank you. Thank you for seeing us when no one else did. My daughter's name is Sarah. She wants to be a teacher. Because of you, she'll get that chance. Catherine Morris and Keanu read it 3 times. Then pinned it to his wall, not as a trophy, as a reminder. That power isn't about being recognized. It's about making sure others aren't invisible.